What's up, YouTube? And welcome back to our channel, Meet the Teats. My name is Melissa.
And I'm Chris T. And today we're going to get into our top 20 questions you should ask your spouse before marriage.
All right.
Let's do it.
Meet the Teats. Meet the Teats. First came love, then came marriage. Meet the Teats. Meet the Teats. Meet the Teats.
Okay, you guys, before we get into this video, make sure you like this video, give us a big thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, join our family. We post every single week, and also share this video with someone who may be engaged or who is planning to get married. Okay, these 20 questions that we're going to be telling you guys are really good questions, really thought-provoking questions that can spark up some really good conversations, and they may give you the answers that you want, or maybe some answers that you're not feeling. And I think all of that is good to hash out before you get married. Okay, now for those who are new to our channel, welcome. But Chris and I have been married for a little over 2 years now, and some of these questions, we asked each other these questions, and some of them we didn't. So go ahead and get your pen and paper out, sit down, get a nice cozy place, get your coffee. Chris and I, we both have our coffee. Get your coffee, because we are going to talk about these 20 questions and why they are important to ask before you get married. Okay, so let's start with number one. I'll start off, and we will be looking down because our questions are in front of us. So if we're looking down, that's why. Okay, so the first question we have is pretty simple. Why do you want to get married? Okay, it may seem very simple, very minute, but I mean, that's a valid question to ask, right? Because your expectations of marriage and why you want to get married, to me, may be completely different. And I asked Chris this question.
She did.
That was like one of the first questions I asked him. Why do you even want to get married to me?
Question number 2 is, what is your definition of a successful marriage?
That's a good one. That's a good one. Now, question 3, does religion play a major role in your life and in marriage? Okay, now we make sure that we put God in the center of our marriage. Okay, now that may be different from you, and this may not be a question that you want to ask. Okay, but if you are a believer, if you are into religion and relationship with God, then this is definitely a question that you want to ask your spouse before you get married, so that y'all can be on the same page. You know, that was one of my deal breakers. You know, if he did not have a personal relationship with God, then it was a no-go. Yeah,
you want to make sure that you and your spouse is equally yoked and you're on the same page.
Right.
Because if not, it's going to create conflict in the marriage further down the line.
Exactly. So question 4, what do you want to get out of marriage? Now, this question may seem a little confusing, so let me explain. Okay, what I mean by this, and what we mean by this, is that what is your end goal? Okay, what do you want to get out of this? Are you just here to have a companion? Are you just here to have somebody to have sex with? You know, what are you trying to get out of this? Okay, and that can be a pretty intense question, or for some people it may be just a simple answer. But that's a great question to ask, because you really want to know, where are they coming from?
Right.
Why are they doing this? What do you want to get out of this marriage?
Yeah, no doubt. Question number 5, what is your definition of love? Yeah.
Number 6, how did your parents show love to you when you were growing up?
That's a good one. We asked that question just simply because we want to know your background. It's always good to know someone's background. You want to know if they are immune to loving someone, as far as like actually giving the love and receiving the love. So you want to make sure that's the case. Yeah.
And I feel like how you received love when you were younger, you play that out when you're an adult.
You're an adult,
you know,
definitely.
if your Like if you come from like a real lovey-dovey family and you say I love you and like hugs and all the time, you're going to be more affectionate when in your marriage.
Yeah.
But if you don't come from a family that's really, you know, affectionate, so you may not be as affectionate during your marriage.
Yeah. Number 7 would be
Big one.
Yeah, that's a big one. Do you want children?
Yeah.
That's a big question right there.
That's like, I feel like that would be a deal breaker if someone wants to have children and the other spouse does not.
Yeah.
I mean, there's ways that, what do you do if your spouse does not want to have children, but you do? It's like,
I think I knew of a couple who the wife was more so the one that didn't want kids, and the husband did want kids. And like years later down the line, she actually just kind of gave in. Yeah. They had a kid. So.
Yeah. But you want to clear that up at the beginning.
Yeah,
and don't think, oh, once I marry him or once I marry her, she'll change her mind.
Right.
Because she may not.
May not.
He may not, okay? So at the jump, if that's a deal breaker for you, then if any of these things are a deal breaker for you, their responses, then you really have to reevaluate if this is the right person that you should marry.
Yeah.
Number 8, what is your medical history and your mental health history? That's important to know because if your spouse has like a terminal illness, okay, and they don't tell you, and that could be pretty devastating, you know, to not know that.
Yeah.
Or if they have mental health issues in the past, if they suffer from bipolar or like schizophrenia or something like that, you know, that's something you want to know before you get married, because for some people they can deal with that stuff and some people can't.
Number 9, are you a saver or are you a spender?
Yes.
Now that was a big question that Melissa had for me. Well, she kind of noticed that I was more of a spender.
I did.
And so we had to get that rectified early before actual marriage. What we did with that, we joined a Dave Ramsey class, and that pretty much
Financial Peace University.
Yeah, that pretty much, you know, set the standard, set the mold for what we wanted to, how we wanted to be in our marriage.
Yeah,
as far as being good stewards.
That was absolutely a prerequisite before he married me. I told him we need to take a financial class because I know that a lot of marriages end because of financial reasons, and we got to start off on the same page. And that kind of goes into our next question. Question 10, how much do you owe in debt?
Ooh.
Nobody wants to talk about money. I'm telling you, nobody wants to talk about money. How much do you owe in debt?
Yeah.
And what are your financial goals? Okay, that kind of goes hand in hand. So how much do you owe in debt, and what are your financial goals?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm telling you, somebody I just want to get by. Or somebody else's financial goals may be, I'm trying to save this, I'm trying to be this, I'm trying to be that. And it can create conflict. So you got to make sure you're on the same page before you tie the knot when it comes to finances.
Yeah. Okay,
because that can cause a lot of friction in the marriage.
it's a big deal. Number 11, how do you handle conflict?
Speaking of conflict with financial things, yeah, conflict, you want to see how they handle conflict. And honestly, that person may not even be aware of how they handle conflict. Okay, you might have to tell them, this is how you handle conflict, okay? But you want to start that conversation talking about conflict so they can become more conscious of how they're dealing with their anger, how they deal with conflict. Okay, question 12. If we ever get stuck in our marriage, are you open to seeking outside counsel?
Question 13. What does being the head of household mean to you? Now, for me, that means more of a spiritual thing. In the Bible, it says that the man is the head of the house and things of that nature. So when I think of that, I think of me being a leader as far as prayer, praying for my family, for guidance, for peace in our home, things of that nature, as long as finances and everything like that. And just making sure that my wife is okay. She's not stressed out. I'm pretty much wearing my wife's stress.
That's deep.
I'm wearing my wife's dress. So that's just basically what being the head of the household is.
Now, the opposite end of that is something the man can ask the wife or the future wife is, what does submission mean to you? Now, for me, submission does not mean, yes, I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever you want. You know, and honestly, that's what people think. Like, what? I'm not about to submit to no man. Da, 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 da. Like, no. Okay? It's simply, are you trusting your husband with what God is giving him? And are you falling into submission with that? Okay? With what God is depositing into him, are you lining up with that? If Chris is saying, no, we are not going to make this big financial move. And I'm going to ask him, I'm going to challenge him, okay, why not? And have you prayed about that? What has the Lord told you about that? And if he's saying, the Lord told me this, and this, then I am going to say, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay? And that head of the household, the submission thing, it goes hand in hand. Now, if your spouse is not the head of the household and he's not covering the household, okay, with prayer and fasting and all of that, then you're going to have to submit to whatever he's on. Okay, you're going to have to submit to his own understanding.
Unfortunately.
Okay, and that can be, I'm going to just say interesting. Okay, that can be interesting.
I put it to you like this. You can't have success just doing things in your own understanding. That's scripture.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So maybe we can talk more about that in another video, okay?
That's a whole video.
That's a whole another video in itself. So let's move on. I think we're on question 15. And it says, how do you define time well spent? What feels like a waste of time to you? Now, I put this question on the list because things that he enjoys, you know, you may not enjoy, and that's completely okay. But
and some things that she may enjoy, I may not enjoy.
Exactly.
Well, so.
But if this person is always doing something all the time, let's say they're on social media all the time, every day, all the time, and this is how he spends his time, but you feel like it's a time well spent, or you think it's a waste of time, okay? But he thinks this is how I spend my time, and I think this is fine. That's something y'all gonna have to talk about, okay? Because that can bring a lot of friction, a lot of animosity into the relationship, into the marriage, because you're thinking you're always on your phone, you're always doing this, you're always doing that, and you looking like this is how I like recharge, or this is how I spend my time. So make sure you figure out, how do you spend your time? What is a waste of time to you, so you can get all that ironed out and kinked out before the marriage.
Yeah. Okay. So number 16, the question is, do you view or are you involved in any type of pornography?
Okay. Now this question can be controversial for some people, okay? And this is a black and white answer for us because we know what pornography can do in a marriage and how it can negatively impact a marriage, okay? When you're viewing images, sexualized images online or pornography online, you are creating this false expectation for your spouse, okay? So if whatever you're viewing online, they're doing this, and this, you're going to expect your spouse to do the same thing. And those images online,
fellas, I know y'all
that's
see
like
it all the time on social media. It's just, it just hits you right in the face like bam. And then, you know, but the thing about it is that you have to know, you have to be a turn off point. So if you see it, immediately cut it off. Just don't even engage into it, especially if you're married or actually getting involved in marriage. Just don't engage into it, man, because it'll take you down a path of
a dark path.
And we done heard some stories about it, and that'll be a whole another video, you know. But yeah,
absolutely. So you have to ask yourself, you know, do I want my spouse viewing, involved in it, you know, and if the answer is no, then that's what you have to stand on. You have to stand your ground when it comes to stuff like that, because pornography in a marriage can be very dangerous, I can say, and it can be very dark. And as believers, you know, that is not okay. Like, that's sin, sexual immorality. And it can really put you down a path of ungodliness, and we want God to be in the center of our marriage. And I was actually just watching a sermon today by Mike Todd, and maybe I'll put the link in the description box below. And he talks about having an addiction to, how he used to have an addiction to pornography, and how God delivered him from that. But just know, this is a good question to ask. It's a good question to bring up, even though it may seem kind of weird or awkward or something like that. But this is the person that you plan on spending the rest of your life with, and this is something that you really, really need to know. Now, on the topic of sex, okay, the next question was, how many sex partners have you had? Okay, and are you willing to take an STD test?
Now, I wasn't really big on the question of how many sex partners you had, because I mean, it don't really matter. But as far as the STD test and everything, definitely make sure you get that before you choose to, you know, become engaged and get married with someone. That's something that you would want to know. But Melissa, I don't know, how do you feel about the number of partners?
That question, I do feel like it's important, and we ask each other those questions. So I think it's important, because when you have sex with someone that's not your husband or wife, you create a soul tie with them. So I want to know, how many soul ties do you have out there? Okay, like, I need to know that. Okay, that's something that's important to me. Like, how many soul ties do you have? You know, is it 15, 20 people that you are connected with? You know, because when you have sex with someone, you become one with that person. So how many people are you one with? You know, I feel like that's a valid question.
That's a good way to look at it.
And then, as far as the STD testing, okay, if you've had multiple sex partners, then you are at risk of STDs, sexually transmitted diseases. And since we're going to be married,
we just want to know.
We want to know, okay? If you have any STDs, and if you do, we need to discuss that. We need to get it taken care of, and we need to discuss this further.
Right.
So, and it's just a safety thing, a health thing, you know? So yeah. So, are you going to do 18, babe?
Number 18. Number 18, have you ever been attracted to the same sex? Now, that's a big deal. We was watching the show Greenleaf, and that's the best example that I could put it to y'all. We was watching the show Greenleaf. The youngest daughter of the family was married to this guy that had a baby and everything. Coming to find out, dude was really attracted to dudes, and it was just downhill from there. It was a big mess.
Yeah, it was a big mess. So that's a valid question. Even though they may not be attracted now, you know, at this moment, have you ever struggled with that in the past? Have you ever had a relationship with someone of the same sex? Okay, that's a valid question to ask. Okay, and
shall I tell them the story?
What story?
About you trying to check up on me.
Yeah, you can tell them the story if you want to.
All right, so when Melissa and I was dating, right? She had a friend that she went to college with. The girl, she was a lesbian or whatever. So, you know, Melissa and I dating. She went to her to ask her if she knew me from any type of circles or, you know, and I came back as clear, you know,
clear.
No,
like for real.
So,
no, that's serious, because that's something that's important to me, that he has not been involved with the same sex. So I didn't know anybody in that community except for her at the time that maybe would have run past you somewhere. So I made sure that I asked him that question, and also did a little bit of research on the side. So next question, 19, we're almost done here. Do you believe in monogamy? okay? This is a pretty straightforward
Yeah,
question.
that's straightforward. That's like self-explanatory.
Yeah, polygamy, or are you okay with just you and
one,
I?
yeah.
Because some people are into other stuff like swinging and like threesomes and stuff like that. So you have to really get that clear, okay, before marriage. Because I would hate for you to be in a situation where now she's asking you to invite someone else into the bedroom and you're like, whoa. Yeah. So talk about it, okay?
I became a one-woman man.
Look at you.
Look at my bumpers. You hear
Look
that?
at you singing. Oh
Yeah,
my
look.
gosh.
Okay, so number 20.
Number 20, last question, you guys.
Have you ever cheated on someone or been cheated on? Now that's a big question to ask, and it's just a general question because you just kind of want to know. You know, have you ever been hurt before?
Yeah.
I guess that's a good way to put
Yeah.
it. Or have you ever hurt someone before?
Yeah, just your relationship past is what you really want to know.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, you guys. Oh my goodness, we made it through all 20 questions. I hope y'all wrote this down, or y'all got a pen and paper or something to write these questions down, and share this video with someone who is being married soon, or engaged to be married, or thinking about being married, or want to be married, or dating someone. These are great questions to ask their future spouse or their boyfriend or girlfriend before they get married.
Yeah.
Okay. So if y'all want more videos like this about marriage and relationships, relationship advice, leave a comment down below. If you have any more questions, like, you know what, this would actually be a good question to ask, leave it down below. Make sure you are engaging down below, because YouTube needs to know that this is some good content, that this is some solid content. And the more you engage, the more you like this video, the more YouTube will say, you know what, people are engaging, people are watching, people are liking this video, and they will recommend this video on YouTube for other people to see, okay? So with that being said, you got anything else, Dave?
No, I think that's it, man.
That's
so
it?
It's been a pleasure, y'all.
Always.
We have to catch up with y'all. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our page at Meet the Teats. And I think that's it.
That's it.
That's it, man. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Peace.